Hello friends. Today I am going to tell you the difference between blank verse and free verse. First of all, whenever we talk about poetry, there are two important aspects of every poetry. One is its rhyme scheme and another is its metrical composition. See, before understanding free verse and blank verse, we have to understand actually what poetry is. A poetry is poetry only because it has got some kind of rhythm or some kind of rhyme in it. Then only we call it a poetry. And then, plus rhyme and rhythm, it should have some metrical pattern. Like the most common metrical pattern in English literature is iambic pentameter. Pentameter means in 5 meters, the one line of a poem is written in 5 meters. Now, what is meter? Meter is the combination of two syllables, one stressed and one unstressed. It can have many variations. That is totally another story. I will make up a video on that of various metrical patterns, iambic, trochee, spondy, pyrrhic, and there are so many. So that is a totally different thing. I'll make another video on it and explain to you in detail. But here we have to understand that rhyme or rhythm or metrical pattern is the basic composition for making up, or the basic ingredient for making up a poetry. But what if rhyme or rhythm is missing in a poetry? What if metrical pattern is missing in a poem? Then we come to this term blank verse and free verse. In blank verse and free verse, some liberties are taken. And when we talk about liberty, the first thing which comes to our mind is how Wordsworth has defined poetry. Poetry is the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings and the emotions recollected in tranquility. So, if it is spontaneous, it cannot be always combined or it cannot be always bound by metrical pattern and rhythms. Sometimes those things are skipped off. So, what is blank verse and what is free verse? Blank verse has got metrical pattern. It's generally written in iambic pentameter but has got no rhyme scheme. Whereas free verse has no restraint of metrical pattern or rhyme and rhythm. So you see the difference between blank verse and free verse. Blank verse may you have rhymes, no rhyme scheme, but you have metrical pattern. And basically the metrical pattern which is followed is iambic pentameter. But in free verse, no restraint at all. You may have metrical pattern, you may not have metrical pattern, you may have rhythm, you may not have rhythm, you may not have both of the things. So totally like a language of prose. That is the basic difference between blank verse and free verse. Now one by one we'll take up both the things. First we'll talk about free verse. Free verse is also called vers libre. In French it was called vers libre. Why? Because of the liberties which it took. So no rhyme, no metrical pattern. That's why it becomes more close to natural speak, just like the language of prose, because it has got no rhyme, no rhythm, no metrical pattern. So how is rhythm brought? Rhythm is brought by cadences. Cadences like some kind of alliteration or some kind of repetitiveness in the poetry, or odd rhythms. Sometimes two lines are rhyming, then one is blank, then another two are rhyming. Like in any way, some kind of spontaneity is maintained. And obviously there are no rules when you're writing this free verse. Basically modern writers, 20th century writers used to write in free verse. Now here I am giving you an example of free verse. This is the example by Prufrock. This is the example by Eliot, his poetry Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. Here you see, let us go then, you and I, when the evening is spread out against the sky, like a patient etherized upon a table. Let us go through certain half-deserted streets. The muttering retreats. You see, there is no rhythm here. I, sky. They both are rhyming, then table. Totally out of the sky. Nothing is rhyming here. Sky, table, I are not rhyming together.
Eye and sky are rhyming, then streets and retreats are rhyming. But there is no actual pattern, no pattern is being followed, no exact rhythm or rhyme is followed. The same is with the lines you see. Some are short lines, some are long lines. So obviously, if the lines are so short and long, there is no uh, strictness of meter being followed here. So this is it. This is free verse where no rhyme or rhythm or no metrical pattern is being followed. Now we move on to blank verse. What is blank verse? Obviously, no rhymes. There are regular metrical pattern, basically or generally iambic pentameter. This is the most common pattern in English poetry because you see it started first. It was used by Earl of Surrey in his Aeneid in 1540, and it is derived from Latin. As such, variations are seen in Latin verse. Then it is also used, this is a general pattern or general form used in drama also. You see, it was used first by Norton and Sackville in Gorboduc, the tragedy, in 1561. It is also used by Christopher Marlowe, Shakespeare, Milton. Shakespeare basically in all his plays used blank verse, and his dialogues were written, basically the dialogues between two characters were written in blank verse. Marlowe and Shakespeare used it in their speeches for the play. Obviously, romantic poets also used it. Victorian poets also used. Giving an example by Prelude by Wordsworth. One summer evening, led by her, I found a little boat tied to a willow tree within a rocky cove, its usual home. Straight I unloosened her chain and stepped in. So you see, found, tree, home, in, stealth, voice, no rhyme scheme at all. Nothing is rhyming. But the lines have metrical patterns. The metrical pattern in which it is written is iambic pentameter. And that's why it is a blank verse. So this is the main thing which we have to remember, that in blank verse we have no rhyme but we have fixed metrical pattern, and in free verse we are free, totally free. Anything. You can have rhyme, you cannot have rhyme. You can have meter, you cannot have meter. So this is it. This is the difference between blank verse and free verse. And dear friends, for understanding metrical patterns even more clearly, I'll make another video. So till then, keep on subscribing and liking my videos. Thank you.